So what do we have here? Group audit. Okay, this one adalah the requirement. Okay, the discussion topic for this one adalah requirement of a relevant accounting standard. Okay, so basically bila kita kata group audit, meaning that the company, the group company lah ya. A group company meaning that what do we have here? We have the holding company. So kita ada holding company dan kita ada the subsidiary company. Okay. So this one adalah our subsidiary company, okay. So dalam this situation, okay, if you be appointed as the auditors of the holding company, let's say you'd be appointed sebagai auditor of the holding company, so we call you sebagai principal auditor. Sekejap ya, I tulis sini. So this one adalah katakanlah bahawa you be appointed sebagai auditors of the holding company. This one we call you sebagai principal auditor, okay? Ataupun primary auditor. Okay, so your responsibility ada dua lah. Satu adalah you need to express the financial statement of the holding company, number one. Sama ada the financial statement of the holding company show true and fair view. Okay, dan number one. Number two adalah the company need to prepare the consolidated account. So bila company prepare the consolidated account, you need to express your opinion on the consolidated account lah, ataupun on the group account. Sama ada the group account show true and fair view. Bukan saja sama ada group account show true and fair view, you also need to express your opinion sama ada when the company prepare consolidated account, they follow the requirement of accounting standard lah. Okay. Kemudian you juga kena express your opinion sama ada you receive all the information and explanation daripada subsidiary company. Okay, there might be two situations kat sini ya. The first situation adalah you are the principal auditor of the holding company and at the same time you also the auditor of all the subsidiary company. Jadi you macam kira you orang kata apa ni? You macam semua benda you ambil lah ya. Holding company you are the auditors and all the subsidiary company juga you are the auditors of all the subsidiary company. Jadi dalam that situation, it will be easy for you lah because you control everything. Senang for you to get the information daripada subsidiary company because subsidiary company pun your audit firm yang audit the subsidiary company. Tetapi kita akan hantar different team lah to audit the subsidiary company, okay? And that's the first situation. The second situation adalah you are the auditors of the holding company and some of the subsidiary company. Okay, ini you jadi auditor untuk this subsidiary company. Other subsidiary company be audited by other auditor. Okay, so under this situation, you need to rely on the other auditor. Okay, that's why kita kata dalam this audit, we need to rely on the other party lah, on the other expert. Selain daripada kita rely kepada internal auditor, kita rely kepada other expert, for the example like quantity surveyor, architect, diamond expert and so on, okay? We also need to rely on the other auditors, okay? So the discussion topic dalam this one adalah requirement of relevant accounting standard, okay? So bila dia prepare consolidated account, they need to follow some of the accounting standard. Jadi you sebagai auditor, you pun kena faham ataupun you pun kena ada knowledge of the consolidated account lah because there are some condition ataupun some condition there are some procedures that need to be followed by the company when they prepare the consolidated accounts, okay? So kalau you belajar consolidated account pun macam bila kita nak prepare, bila kita nak consolidate the account, there are a few factors that we need to consider lah, okay? Sebab kita ada a few methods to consolidate the group account, okay? Kemudian methods to be considered before accepting appointment as principal auditor of the group. Okay, before you accept the appointment as the principal auditor, there are certain factors that we need to consider because there is a possibility that holding company in one industry and subsidiary company in another industry. Or subsidiary A, industri lain, subsidiary B, industri lain, C, industri lain, and so on, okay. Jadi you kena faham di industri yang melibatkan holding company and all the subsidiary company lah, okay. Jadi you kena ada knowledge of other industry, okay. Kemudian kita kena tengok the relationship between principal auditor and other auditors, okay. Macam I mention tadi, you are the principal auditor and we need to use the word of the other auditor, so you kena ada good relationship dengan the other auditor. Bukan ada good relationship, maksudnya kita nak ensure that the other auditors cooperate dengan kita when we conduct the audit, okay. So matters to be considered and procedures to be performed when using the word of the other auditors, okay. So bila kita guna the word of the other auditors, there are a few factors that we need to consider. Okay, kita kena check the other auditors in term of dia punya knowledge, competency, quality control, audit quality, okay. Dan kita kena ensure that the other auditors, they are independent dan they have no financial interest over the company. There are a few factors that we need to consider before we be able to rely on the other auditors, okay. And last one, kita nak tengok what are the implication of the principal auditor where the opinion on a component is modified, okay. So anda di situ, okay, kat sini kan kadang-kadang bila you tengok the word of the other auditor, sometimes you rasa macam the working paper is not sufficient ataupun the audit procedures that be conducted by the other auditors is not appropriate ataupun not sufficient. Jadi apa yang kita sebagai principal auditor, what are the things that we need to do? Sebab kita sebagai principal auditor, we have the right over the other auditor, we have the right to ask them to conduct detailed substantive audit procedures, okay. Ataupun kalau you suruh dia buat lagi dan dia buat tapi you rasa macam you still not get what you want, okay. So you sebagai principal auditor, we can do ataupun we can conduct additional audit procedures lah, okay. And the last one, kita akan tengok apa yang kita nak kena buat, what are the implication kepada our opinion when katakanlah bahawa some of the subsidiary company, let's say katakanlah bahawa bila kita nak issue audit report, okay, and then we notice that maybe one or two of the subsidiary company, the auditor issue modified opinion. Modified opinion tak kisahlah sama ada they might issue except for opinion, adverse opinion or disclaimer opinion. So what is the implication? Yes? Tak dengar apa? Ya? Betul ke tak ada? Slide ni ada share awal-awal lagi sebenarnya. Tak ada ya? Sekejap. Untuk all the groups ke? I share dekat Telegram ya.
Okay, madam.
Sekejap ya. Dapat ke? Okay. So, boleh I continue kelas?
Boleh, madam.
Boleh, okay, welcome. Okay. So, there is a situation where kalau one of two subsidiary company, the auditor ataupun the other auditor issue modified opinion, okay? So, modified opinion tak kisahlah sama ada the issue except for opinion, disclaimer opinion ataupun adverse opinion, okay? So what are the implication on our audit report, okay? Sama ada kadang-kadang kalau benda tu material, so maybe kita pun kena issue except for, adverse ataupun ataupun disclaimer opinion. That's why you kena tahu ya, under what situation kita issue except for opinion, under what situation kita kena issue adverse ataupun disclaimer. Adverse opinion kalau ada disagreement. Okay, kalau disclaimer meaning that kalau ada scope limitation, kita akan issue disclaimer opinion. Okay, so just have a look kat sini kelas. Okay, companies frequently have subsidiary company. So holding company is required to prepare the group account in the form of consolidated account. It's quite common lah kalau you ada holding company, kalau you ada group account, so we need to, dia kena prepare two set of account lah ya. Satu dia punya account for the company and another one adalah consolidated account. Okay, auditor of the holding company, we call it as principal auditor or primary auditor, is required to express an opinion as to whether the company account, satu company account and another one is group account, which referring kepada consolidated account, sama ada the account show true and fair view to the members of the holding company. Jadi you sebagai principal auditor, when you audit the group account, you are required to have some knowledge on the consolidated account. You kena ada knowledge lah on the consolidated account. Normally kan kalau you jadi auditor, normally dia akan bagi you assignment for the single company dulu. Okay, so as you dah makin your knowledge dah makin bertambah, because normally audit firm kan dia akan bagi you assignment untuk single company, tetapi dia akan bagi banyak, yalah you punya client yang you kena handle will be banyak client lah ya. Tetapi they try to give you in different industry so that you familiar auditing in different industry. Okay, so bila you punya knowledge dah okay, barulah audit firm will ask you to handle the group account. Sebab group account ni you kena tahu in different industry at the same time lah. Okay, jadi you kena tahu about the consolidated account, the regulation which relate dengan consolidated account, as well as the disclosure requirements lah. Okay, so we need to follow the requirement of Companies Act 2016. So kita kena follow the financial reporting standard. Okay, so baca kat sini kelas, what is the meaning of principal auditor? I dah explain tadi. Principal auditor adalah the auditor yang audit, kalau appointed sebagai auditors of the holding company, you are the principal auditor lah. Okay, reporting on the financial statement of the entity, where those financial statement include financial information of one or more component. Kalau you baca dalam notes ni, subsidiary company, normally kalau you baca dalam accounting standard and so on, they do not use the term subsidiary company lah ya. Most of the time they akan guna the terms a component. Okay, so kalau ada one or more component audited by the other auditor, so you are the principal auditor. Apa maksud components? Components termasuklah division, branch, subsidiary, joint venture, associate company and other entity. Okay, and then the financial statement termasuk dalam consolidated financial account and be audited by the principal auditor. Okay, next one adalah another auditor. The meaning of another auditor adalah other than principal auditor. Okay, kadang-kadang some of the component be audited by the other auditor. That one kita panggil sebagai another auditor. Okay, faham ya kelas? That one is the term lah. Okay, the responsibility of the principal auditor adalah, this one I ambil section daripada mana ya, daripada Companies Act yang lama ya. So nanti kita refer kepada Companies Act yang baru lah. Okay, tetapi dia punya content dia sama je, cuma dia punya section number saja yang berubah. Okay, you punya responsibility adalah sama, basically your responsibility untuk audit for the single company and subsidiary company sama. Okay, your objective adalah to express opinion on the financial statement, sama ada the financial statement show true and fair view. Okay, so the right of the principal auditors, principal auditor bertambahlah untuk single company and then untuk group account, you punya rights and responsibility lebih kurang sama tetapi bertambah lah. Okay. So basically, you have the right to access to the accounting and other record of the company and all the subsidiary company. Kalau dulu you have the right to access the record, the books and record of your client saja kan. Tetapi ini bukan saja your client tetapi juga for the other subsidiary company, even though that subsidiary company be audited by the other auditors. Okay. So you also have the right required from any other auditors. Okay. You also have the right to require daripada other auditors of related company for any information and explanation. You ada hak untuk dapatkan any information and explanation from the other auditor. Lagi senang faham lah ya. Kemudian you juga have the right to get all the information and explanation from any officer of the parent company and officer of the related company. Okay, even though the related company be audited by the other auditors. Faham ya kelas ya? That one adalah you punya right sebagai principal auditor. Okay, sampai situ faham kelas? Senang aja kan?
Faham, madam.
Faham ya? Okay. Now kita tengok principal auditor. Kat sini I buang sebab not relevant anymore. Okay. So principal auditor adalah if the same auditor for the holding and subsidiary being appointed, the auditor need to have separate engagement letter. But must get the confirmation from BOD of each company. Katakanlah bahawa you are the auditors of the holding company, then you are the auditor of the some subsidiary company. So kita akan prepare separate engagement. No, you don't have to prepare separate engagement letter. You boleh prepare satu engagement letter, okay, untuk holding as well as the subsidiary company. Tetapi kita kena dapatkan confirmation daripada BOD, ensure that BOD aware about this, okay. So in order to accept the appointment as the principal auditor, there are the things that we need to take into consideration lah. Satu adalah materiality of the portion of the financial statement which principal auditor audit, okay. This one yang paling penting bila kita audit di group account. Katakanlah bawah here kita ada holding company and some subsidiary company. Okay. So kita nak tengok ya, katakanlah bahawa this subsidiary company be audited by other auditor. Kita kena tengok secara the whole thing ya. Dia punya normally for the group kita panggil dia punya capital lah ya. Dia punya asset ataupun dia punya capital dia, okay. So kita kena tengok berapa portion daripada the group company, how many percent of the total asset belongs to the company yang kita audit. Okay, katakanlah bahawa you audit this one, and this one. Okay, the percentage of the capital ataupun the percentage of the asset which belong to all this company that we audit. Okay, meaning that kita kena tengok the materiality of the portion of the financial statement which be audited. Sebab kita tak nak katakanlah bahawa walaupun this one adalah subsidiary company, 3 subsidiary company, tetapi dia punya asset, let's say 60% of the total group asset. Jadi kita cuma audit 40% saja. Tak boleh lah ya. You kena audit the material portion. Okay, the higher percentage should be audited by the principal auditor. Faham ya? Because kalau anything happen kepada all the subsidiary company, dia akan bagi big implication kepada group company ataupun kepada consolidated account. Benda tu akan jadi too material to the consolidated account ataupun to the group account. Faham ya kelas ya? Ini benda yang paling penting that we need to consider while we audit the group company lah. So we have to ensure that the materiality ataupun the big portion should be audited by by principal auditors, okay. The second one adalah the principal auditor's knowledge of the business of the component. So another factors adalah we also need to consider about our knowledge and our competency in audit of the component where the component might be in different industry lah, okay. The third one adalah the risk of material misstatement in the financial statement of the component audited by the other auditors. Okay, samalah katakanlah bahawa katakanlah bahawa you are the auditor and then some of the component be audited by the other auditors. Okay, and ada misstatement dalam dia punya financial statement ataupun the other auditor issued modified opinion. Jadi kita kena tengoklah sama ada that modified opinion ataupun the material misstatement sama ada apa implication that material misstatement kepada group account as a whole, ya. So kadang-kadang benda tu dia akan jadi material at the subsidiary level kat sini, ya. Katakanlah bahawa kat sini the auditor issue adverse opinion. Okay, sometimes benda tu material at the component, tetapi bila kita tengok pada group as a whole, the amount is not material. Faham ya kelas, ya? That's the reasons why the auditor sini issue adverse opinion ataupun disclaimer opinion. Sebab the item is material at subsidiary level. Okay? Satu kan? Okay? Tetapi bila kita tengok kepada group as a whole, the amount is not material. Okay? Jadi dalam that situation, untuk consolidated account, we still can express our opinion by saying that the consolidated account show true and fair view. Tetapi kita highlight lah benda ni dalam our KAM, dalam our key audit matters by mentioning that one of the subsidiary company, nama subsidiary company, auditor dia siapa, the auditor issue adverse opinion ataupun disclaimer opinion due to what? Faham kelas?
Faham, Madam.
Faham ya? Okay. Another situation adalah benda ni material kepada at the component level, at the subsidiary level, ataupun maybe two auditors ataupun two subsidiary company, the auditor issue modified opinion. Okay, so bila kita check kepada group as a whole, okay, so benda tu akan jadi sama ada material but not pervasive ataupun material and pervasive. Okay, so kalau material but not pervasive, maybe at group level kita akan issue except for opinion, okay. Tetapi kalau benda tu material and pervasive, you kena tengoklah sama ada is due to the scope limitation ataupun due to disagreement. Kalau scope limitation, kita akan issue disclaimer opinion, dan kalau disagreement, kita akan issue apa kelas? Adverse opinion. Faham ya kelas, ya? So these are the thing yang kita kena tengok. Kalau you perhatikan bukan soalan last semester, soalan last 2 semester banyak keluar benda-benda macam ni. Okay, dia bagi senario and then selepas dia bagi senario, so dia suruh you explain the type of audit opinion that will be the audit opinion that will be issued by principal auditor. Okay. Okay, now using the word of the other auditors, sekejap ya kelas ya, nak kena check office punya ni kejap. Okay. Using the word of the other auditors, okay, when the principal auditor use the word of the other auditors, the principal auditor should determine how word of the other auditors will affect the audit. Okay, so you bacalah yang lainnya. So the principal auditor should lead the planning. So you are the principal auditor, you yang kena buat audit planning. Okay, especially the timing of the group audit. Okay, the timing untuk kita buat group audit, especially untuk kita check kalau ada intercompany transaction, okay. So specific area and audit procedures, dan kalau melibatkan intercompany balances and intercompany transaction. Kalau intercompany balances or bila you nak check intercompany transaction, kita kena buat at the same time. Okay, holding company kena buat dan subsidiary company kena buat at the same time. So senang kita nak reconcile it. Okay. So the principal auditor need to discuss with the other auditor to scrutinize the audit work. Okay. The other auditor should cooperate dengan principal auditor lah. Okay. For example, the other auditor may advise the principal auditor for any significant event that may have important impact to the group as a whole ataupun that might have important impact kepada consolidated account. Okay. So ataupun the other auditors may need to inform kepada principal auditor any matters that has not been carried out as requested. Okay, kepada example katakanlah bahawa the other auditor dia ada masalah, dia ada problem to get some of the information daripada management ataupun ada scope limitation. So dia kena inform kepada principal auditor. Okay. Ataupun ada disagreement between the other auditors and client. Okay. For the example, like client refuse to follow some of the accounting principle. So ada the situation juga you need to inform kepada principal auditor. Okay. Okay, now kita nak tengok macam mana kita nak rely on the word of the other auditors. Okay. In evaluating the work of the other auditor, the principal auditor would advise the other auditors about, okay, these are the things that kita kena discuss dengan the other auditor lah. We need to remind the other auditor the following item. Okay, number one adalah kita kena remind them that they have to be independent. Okay, when they conduct the audit lah, they have to be independent. And kita kena obtain written representation. You have to get written representation from the other auditor. Dalam that written representation tu, the other auditors kena state clearly that they are independent when they conduct the audit. Okay. Kemudian you juga kena dapat written representation daripada the other auditors on the accounting, auditing and reporting requirement and obtain from the other auditors a written representation yang bila dia conduct the audit, they comply dengan requirement of auditing, accounting, auditing and reporting requirement. Bukan saja you kena dapat written representation daripada client ya, you juga kena dapat written representation from the other auditors. Okay. So the principal auditor also need to inform the other auditors of matters such as area required special consideration. Procedures to identify intercompany transaction for disclosure and also the timetable to complete the audit. Sebab the other auditors, they need to complete the audit lagi awal daripada principal auditor. Sebab principal auditor need to check ataupun need to audit the consolidated account. Okay. Dan sebagai principal auditor, you also should review the audit procedure applied, review the written representation sebab the other auditor akan buat written representation. Okay. So selepas you dapat written representation, you need to review that written representation. Okay. Dan you juga boleh review dia punya working paper of the other auditors. This one tak termasuk dalam confidential part lah, confidentiality. Okay. Sebab you sebagai principal auditor, you have the right to access and to get information and explanation of the subsidiary company which be audited by the other auditor. Okay. So these are the things that we need to advise kepada other auditor. Okay. Kemudian kita tengok the scope of work of the principal auditor depending on berapa banyak scope of work yang you kena buat. Okay. The scope of work depending on the scope of the other auditor in term of engagement of the other auditor. Kalau ada any limitation and so on. So kalau ada limitation meaning that you punya scope of work, we need to expand our scope of work lah. Okay. The second one adalah previous audit. Okay. Kalau previous audit prevail, ada masalah between you and another auditor. So kita kena increasekan kita punya scope of work. Okay. The third one adalah if there is any significant changes in the component. Okay. Component condition, business and profitability. Katakanlah bahawa subsidiary company tu tiba-tiba dia punya profitability dia increase by 50%. Ataupun dia expand dia punya business. Okay. Ataupun the subsidiary company tu dia venture into new industry. Okay. So our scope of work akan jadi makin bertambah. So we need to focus more on that particular subsidiary company. Okay. Next one adalah in term of the inherent risk. Okay, inherent risk of the subsidiary company. Kadang-kadang some of the subsidiary company, dia punya inherent risk adalah tinggi. For the example, like some of the subsidiary company involved in the industry yang very competitive. Ataupun the industry adalah high risk industry. Okay, tetapi kan kalau you kerja esok, kalau you buat audit later on kan, the main problem kalau you audit holding company adalah kadang-kadang some of the subsidiary company ni dia tak ada asset. Okay, tetapi involved dengan transaction which very high amount. Okay, ataupun maybe some of the subsidiary company ni dia tak ada business tetapi dia punya business adalah investment saja. Dia buat investment for the holding company. Jadi dia punya risk adalah very high lah. Okay. Jadi you need to take into consideration the components sama ada the component adalah the risk is high risk or low risk. Okay. And the last one adalah materiality of the component. Kadang-kadang the component ni adalah dia punya asset represent 20% of the total asset of the company. Jadi dia punya asset of this component adalah material for the group as a whole lah. Okay. So materiality of component compared to the group as a whole. Ataupun kat sini dia punya asset 30% of the total asset for the group. Okay, katakanlah bahawa sini 30%, sini 30%, so others 40%. Jadi holding company ni walaupun dia holding company, tetapi dia punya asset, dia punya materiality ataupun dia punya asset cumalah 30% to the group. Jadi it's very high risk. Okay. Melainkan kalau ada company, kadang-kadang ada juga some company here, dia ada subsidiary, tetapi dia punya asset kebanyakan datangnya daripada holding company. For example, 75% daripada holding company and 25% daripada subsidiary company. Jadi kat sini dia punya risk adalah low risk. Okay. Kat sini dia punya risk sebagai principal auditor adalah high risk. Sebab the component and other component, the asset banyak dekat subsidiary company. Okay. Misstatement in the component might not be material for the group as a whole. Kadang-kadang ada misstatement, tetapi misstatement for the component, dia tak material for the group as a whole. Tetapi ada combination misstatement. Okay, katakanlah bahawa two or more component ada material misstatement. Individual misstatement tak material to the group ya. Tetapi kalau kita combine the misstatement dalam 2-3 subsidiary, the amount can be material to the group. Jadi you kena fikirlah ataupun kita kena determine the type of opinion yang kita akan issue untuk consolidated account. Okay, sebab you ingat ya, kita kena issue dua opinion, satu kepada holding company and another one kepada consolidated account. Okay, opinion on consol account. Okay, next one adalah kita tengok, this one adalah procedures of the principal auditor. So these are the things that principal auditors need to do. So preliminary stage, detail of audit work. This one lah masa you nak buat test of compliance as well as substantive test. Substantive test adalah test of balances, test of transaction as well as analytical procedures. Okay. So selepas kita buat conduct the audit, we need to issue the questionnaire. Questionnaire ni adalah kita akan issue daripada principal auditor kepada other auditor. Okay, the principal auditor akan issue questionnaire kepada other auditors and ask the other auditors to tick sama ada dia dah buat ke tak benda-benda tu. Okay, so selepas tu kita kena review the working paper of the other auditors. Okay, now kita tengok preliminary stage. What are the audit procedures that we need to do? So to obtain and to prepare schedule of investment in subsidiary company. Okay, the first thing yang you kena buat adalah you kena prepare schedule of the subsidiary company. Okay, sebab benda-benda ni akan masuk dalam accounts of the holding company as well as account of the consolidated account. Okay, the first thing adalah you kena check opening balance. Okay, opening balance should be tally dengan prior year closing balance, satu, and opening balance dekat holding company and opening balance dekat subsidiary company mestilah tally. Kalau tak tally, you kena check lah kenapa jumlah dia tak tally, okay? Kalau ada additional or disposal of investment, it should be appeared dalam both, okay? Katakanlah bahawa ada additional of the investment dekat subsidiary A, it should appear dalam holding company account and subsidiary company account, okay? And this one must be verified dalam minutes of meeting, directors minutes of meeting, because basically kalau ada additional or disposal of investment, we have to get approval daripada BOD, Board of the Directors, okay? So kita kena check dia punya documentation lah. So apa yang kita documentation, one of the document yang kita kena check adalah kita kena review BOD minutes of meeting. That one you masih ingat ya, masih ingat PDOCIMA bila kita cakap pasal audit procedures, so we refer kepada PDOCIMA, okay? So documentation lah, okay? Kalau opening balance and closing balance tu, you kena check dia punya tally tu, that one adalah part of the mechanical accuracy, okay? So next one adalah kita kena tengok dia punya ending balance. Ending balance untuk holding company and subsidiary company, jumlah dia mestilah tally, okay? Kemudian kita kena check kalau ada disposal of investment, mesti ada gain or loss on disposal of investment. So that one pun you akan buat mechanical accuracy. Check sama ada the amount gain or loss is appropriate or not, okay? Ataupun properly accounted for, and it should be recognized dalam income statement sebagai expenditure ataupun sebagai revenue lah. Kalau gain you akan masukkan as part of the revenue, okay? Kemudian bukan saja you kena tengok investment tu saja, you kena tengok apa yang ada dalam double entry system, you juga kena dapatkan confirmation Macam mana you nak dapatkan confirmation? Documentation lah. Documentation on the ownership of investment. Okay. Kalau dulu kita ada share certificate, you boleh tengok share certificate lah. Tetapi sekarang ni kita dah tak ada share certificate ya. So kita ada account apa kita panggil? Central Depository Account ke? CDA. Kita kena tengok dia punya account. Sama ada dalam account tu ada ke tak. Okay. Yang show that you own the share of the subsidiary company. Ataupun you boleh refer kepada statutory books, okay, of the subsidiary company. I hope you still remember yang you belajar dalam CRG. Ya. Kemudian obtain audited account or management financial statement of each component. So untuk setiap component ataupun setiap subsidiary company, you need to get the audited financial statement as well as management financial statement. Okay. So itu adalah preliminary stage. Okay. During the detail of the audit work, the audit procedures that we need to do adalah you kena check sama ada tak goodwill ataupun reserve arising on consolidation. Kalau ada goodwill, you kena tengok the value of the goodwill. Sama ada the value is appropriate or not. Okay. And then sama ada goodwill ni subject kepada amortization or not. Okay. Pre and post acquisition. Yes.
Sorry, ada kawan tu dia nak request masuk. Ke Madam tak dapat request? Sorry Madam.
I memang tak nampak kalau I dah start kelas.
Oh.
Memang okay. Sebab bila I guna tablet ni I memang tak dapat. Memang I tak dapat ni. So
Okay.
memang you all kena beritahu I kalau ada.
Sorry Madam.
Okay, tak apa, that's okay.
Okay.
Tapi kalau dia guna Gmail punya UiTM ni, should be okay, dia boleh terus masuk sebenarnya. Okay, and then kalau ada, for the example, let's say you baru acquire the company for the current year. The holding company baru acquire a company, a subsidiary company ataupun baru invest in one company, in the subsidiary company for the current year. So kita tengoklah pre and post acquisition reserve, okay. Kemudian kalau ada, sebab kita ada balance kan, kita ada macam holding company and subsidiary company dia punya ending balance, okay. Sometimes the ending balance of the holding company and subsidiary company, the amount is not tally. Okay, so kita kena buat reconciliation. Okay, kita kena reconcile and investigate kenapa the amount dekat holding company and the amount dekat subsidiary company is not tally. Ataupun sometimes ada intercompany transaction. Sometimes kalau ada intercompany transaction, for example, benda tu cuma appear dekat holding company tetapi tak appear dekat subsidiary company. Okay, that one pun we also need to investigate and do reconciliation. Okay. Next one adalah we also need to calculate the minority interest. Okay. So basically benda ni pun you dah belajar what is minority interest. And then kalau ada minority interest, it should be shown separately dalam our financial statement. Okay. Next one kita akan agree on the intercompany balances. Okay, intercompany balances. Make sure the balance between holding company and subsidiary company, the amount should be tally. Okay. And then next one, kalau ada adjustment and cancellation in the intercompany transaction and balances. Kadang-kadang kita dah record tetapi kita cancel the agreement ataupun kita cancel the transaction. Kalau dekat holding company cancel the transaction, dekat subsidiary company pun the transaction should be cancel. Ataupun kalau ada adjustment, katalah bahawa dia buat transaction dalam agreement show 30,000. Kemudian dia adjust the figures kepada 50,000. Okay. So this adjustment need to be appeared dekat both lah, holding and subsidiary company. Okay. Okay, kalau sometimes subsidiary company in different location ataupun in different country. Okay. So it will involve foreign currency. Kalau involve foreign currency, kita kena guna proper exchange rate to convert daripada foreign currency kepada ringgit Malaysia lah, especially pada year end when we prepare the financial statement. Okay. So make sure properly disclosure. This one disclosure ni kena penting ya. Ada necessary item. Basically dalam notes to the account, we need to disclose all the related party transaction at the company level as well as the group level. So basically, kalau you audit the group company, there are so many factors that you need to consider. Okay, sebab dia punya audit dia lagi complicated dan bayaran dia adalah lagi tinggi lah compared to you audit the single company. Okay. Basically kalau you kerja dekat audit firm, you dah handle audit group company, basically kita kata you adalah marketable. Jadi kalau you nak keluar kat mana-mana, nak join mana-mana company pun, they are willing to pay high amount. Normally auditor ya, yang banyak CEO of the mega company ya, kebanyakannya adalah datangnya daripada auditor dan dia dah biasa sangat audit ataupun handle group company. Okay. So kalau you kerja audit firm esok pun, make sure kalau you nak berhenti daripada audit firm tu, make sure you ada experience dulu jadi auditors kepada ataupun involve dalam group audit ataupun consolidated account. Okay. Jadi basically your knowledge, you ada more knowledge and then you are more marketable lah. Okay. So selepas kita buat TOC, kita basically ya, kat sini apa yang you buat adalah you buat test of control as well as substantive test lah. Substantive test kat sini you buat test of transaction, test of balances as well as the analytical procedures. Okay. This one normally kita akan buat kalau test of control tu you akan buat during interim audit, dan all this one normally kita akan buat during the final audit. Okay, benda-benda this one you akan buat during the final audit. Okay, selepas you dah buat detail audit work, so the next stage yang kita kena buat adalah kita akan submit questionnaire. Kita akan bagi questionnaire kepada other auditor. Okay, so bila kita bagi questionnaire dekat other auditors, kita ask a few question lah ya. Internal control of the subsidiary, sama ada dia dah check. Dia punya questionnaire ni dia macam ni ya, dia macam soalan yes, no. So the other auditor akan check lah. Yes, kalau dia dah buat dia akan tick bahagian yes. Kalau dia tak buat dia akan tick bahagian no. Dia kena justify kenapa dia tak buat ataupun dia tak audit that particular part. Okay, jadi you sebagai principal auditor, you kena check the questionnaire. Okay, so kalau you rasa banyak sangat no, auditor ni kenapa tak buat benda ni, kenapa, patutnya dia kena buat kan. So masa tu lah you kena buat detailed substantive audit procedures. Okay. Okay, apa yang kita kena check adalah kita kena tanya the other auditor sama ada dia already check the internal control of the subsidiary. Dia kena check the basis of accounting policy, sama ada the other auditor dah check ke tak accounting policy that been applied by the subsidiary company. Dia dah check ke tak all the balance sheet item, profit and loss item. Kemudian exceptional transaction involve directors and general matters. Dia check ke tak whatever transaction yang melibatkan directors. Okay. Dia akan tanya juga the other auditors if there is any scope limitation facing by the other auditors. Okay, sama ada scope limitation ni ada dua ya. Satu adalah due to the circumstances and another one adalah imposed by client. Okay, dan kita juga akan tanya the other auditors if the other auditors issue any qualification ataupun modified opinion. Okay, and why they issue the modified opinion lah, sama ada they issue except for opinion, disclaimer opinion ataupun adverse opinion. Okay, so kenapa dia issue that modified audit report. Okay, so selepas kita bagi questionnaire kepada the other auditors, kita dapat feedback, we review that questionnaire, kemudian kita akan review the other auditors working paper kalau you rasa it is necessary. Tapi kalau you rasa you dah puas hati dengan the other auditors punya kerja, dia punya competency, dia punya quality of work, they maintain good quality, they are independent, they are competent, you rasa tip top lah dia ada auditor ni ya. So you can skip this one, okay. Tetapi kalau you ada question about the other auditors capability dia, competency dia, independency dia, quality control and so on. So you may review the other auditor working paper to ensure the system examination and documentation is appropriate. Okay, sama ada the other auditors test conduct tak, test of control and substantive test has been properly conducted. Okay, so bila kita kata working paper ni kita kena tengok dua-dua ya. Kita kena tengok dia punya PAF, permanent audit file, and CAF, current audit file. Okay, so you kena tengok sama ada dia punya working paper ni comprehensive or not, complete ke tak dia punya working paper, sample size dia, the sampling technique that they use. Okay, the sample size sama ada cukup ke tak, the materiality level dia sama ada high materiality level, low materiality level, the audit evidence yang dia accumulate untuk each section sama ada sufficient or not. Okay, kemudian dia akan buat review process of working paper. Okay, sama ada this working paper properly review ke tak. Kalau you masih ingat dalam bila kita belajar tajuk quality control, okay, apa-apa yang kena dibuat oleh lower level should be properly reviewed by supervisor, by manager, as well as by audit partner. Okay, so you juga kena check sama ada the financial statement follow. Okay, you juga kena check sama ada the client when they prepare the financial statement, they follow the requirement of accounting standard. Okay, so you kena check juga sama ada the other auditors when they conduct the audit, they follow the requirement of auditing standard. Okay, kemudian you kena ensure that they obtain adequate audit evidence. Okay, they obtain adequate audit evidence before they be able to express their opinion on the financial statement. Ini kita cakap ni pasal kita review the other auditors punya working paper ya kelas ya. Kemudian kita kena check juga identify kalau ada intergroup transaction between holding company and that particular subsidiary company. Okay, boleh ya. So, next one adalah kita kena tengok adalah significant findings of the other auditor. Okay, for every finding, the principal auditor should properly documented financial statement of the component, okay, this one you kena dapat ya, financial statement of all these subsidiary company. Significant of the finding to the entity as a whole, okay. So significant findings of the other of the subsidiary company that may impact the group company as a whole, okay. So name of the other auditor, you kena letakkan ya, you kena tahu nama auditor sebab dalam you punya audit report nanti dalam KAM, okay, you kena disclose, okay, katakanlah bahawa one of the KAM you kena beritahu, okay, we are the principal auditor and we audit most of the subsidiary company and some of the subsidiary company be audited by the other auditor. Okay, so you kena list down kan nama subsidiary company yang diaudit oleh other auditor dan nama auditor yang audit that subsidiary company. Okay, that one adalah kita kena masukkan dalam our audit report. Benda tu dah ada dalam notes to the account, okay? But we still need to highlight it in the audit report. Okay? Faham ya kelas ya? Okay. Next one adalah audit procedure, perform and conclusion reach of each findings. Okay? So for every finding the other auditor principal okay? Baca ni ya kelas ya. If necessary to perform, okay. Kalau katakanlah bahawa bila you check the working paper of the subsidiary company dan you rasa macam tak cukup, it's not sufficient, okay. So you sebagai principal auditor, you have the right to ask the other auditor to conduct detailed substantive audit procedures. Detail, kita guna perkataan detail. Meaning that kita suruh dia conduct additional audit procedures, okay. Tetapi katakanlah bahawa you dah suruh dia conduct additional audit procedures dan kemudian you review lagi sekali dia punya working paper dan you tak puas hati lagi. You rasa macam lagi salah, ada mistake lagi ataupun not sufficient, okay. You sebagai principal auditor, kita sendiri boleh conduct additional audit procedures. Faham ya kelas ya?
Faham je.
Tetapi kena ada, orang kata kena buat proper way lah ya. Tak boleh lah macam you nak tunjuk, oh I ni pandai, I ni auditor this audit firm, I lagi pandai daripada you terus pakai belasah saja, terus pergi conduct additional audit procedures. It's not proper lah ya. So basically apa yang you buat adalah you review dia dulu, kemudian you discuss dengan dia, you kata okay it's not sufficient, I want you to get more information, more audit evidence. Okay, kemudian barulah dia buat. Bila dia buat, you kena review lagi sekali ya. Apa-apa yang you suruh dia buat, we need to review it. Okay, so selepas dia review, you rasa masih lagi tak cukup. Okay, ataupun audit test and audit procedures yang ada auditors tu buat is not appropriate. Okay, ataupun the sample size yang dia buat tu tak cukup. Okay, ataupun the materiality level yang dia set tu is not suitable for the company. Okay, jadi masa tu barulah you boleh conduct additional audit procedures. Okay. Dia macam kalau kita ni macam kita dengan orang gaji, kalau kita ada orang gaji kan macam tu lah kan. Kita minta orang gaji buat benda ni, dia buat macam tak bersih lagi, kita geram, kita buat sendiri. Macam ni lah kita jadi auditor pun macam tu lah yang kita buat. Okay. So kemudian audit procedure, perform and conclusion reach of each findings. Dan nak habis ni kelas ya. Yang lain-lain tu macam reporting tu macam sebab I dah ajar you all the audit report last time. So it's more on the type of audit report. Okay. So the difficulty of principal auditors adalah sebagai principal auditors, the difficulty adalah satu adalah in term of language. So kadang-kadang dia melibatkan other subsidiary, other country. Okay. Culture. Kalau international company, different country, they might have different culture, okay? And then different country, we might have different accounting and auditing standard, okay? Okay, itu saja untuk ni. Yang lain-lain tu adalah more on the auditor responsibility. Okay, baca dulu kelas. What is your responsibility sebagai principal auditor? The first thing adalah yang you kena report kepada shareholder adalah name of the subsidiary. Ini kita kena report pada shareholder ya. Masukkan dalam your audit report. Benda ni kena ada dalam notes to the account ya. dan you highlightkan dalam your audit report. That why kita panggil sebagai KAM, part of the KAM lah, okay. Name of the subsidiary company which not be audited by you, by principal auditor, okay. Whether the consolidated account reflect a true and fair view of the group financial performance and position. Financial performance referring kepada income statement, position referring kepada balance sheet. Kena faham ya kelas ya? Kenapa some diguna perkataan financial performance, some diguna perkataan position. Position referring kepada item-item yang ada dalam balance sheet. Okay, financial performance referring kepada item-item yang ada dalam income statement. Okay. Kemudian you also need to express your opinion sama ada you satisfied that the account of the subsidiary that are consolidated in the form and content appropriate. You kena beritahu sama ada bila company tu, the group company prepare consolidated account, they follow the proper accounting standard lah. Sebab bila kita nak prepare consolidated account, kita ada a few methods, okay. So the method yang dia pakai to prepare console account adalah appropriate for the company and proper for the preparation of the consolidated account. Okay. You juga kena report ataupun dalam your audit report, you juga kena beritahu sama ada you receive all the information and explanation. This one adalah reporting responsibility ya kelas ya. Reporting responsibility adalah apa yang you kena report kepada shareholders of the company, okay? You juga kena report sama ada if any of the subsidiary company ataupun tak kisahlah sama ada dia ada auditor ke ataupun you punya audit team ke, kadang-kadang kita punya our firm audit subsidiary company. Okay, then the auditor issue modified opinion, okay. So that one pun kita kena highlight dalam our audit report, okay. Okay, this one adalah, this one dah tak pakai ya kelas ni. This one, bukan lagi lah. Okay, section dia dah berubah ya. So this one adalah apa yang kita kena masukkan dalam our audit report lah. So ni I nak you cuba cari the latest audit report mana-mana company, okay, group company, okay, cuba tengok how do they express opinion on the financial statement ataupun macam mana auditor issue the audit report, okay. Okay, reporting consideration, the type of audit report that need to be issued by auditor adalah satu, auditor akan issue unqualified ataupun unmodified report. Okay, it's quite common, okay. Number 2, you also may issue qualified report. Qualified report ataupun modified report, okay. Okay, so modified report sama ada you boleh issue except for ataupun you boleh issue disclaimer ataupun you maybe issue adverse audit report, okay. So except for opinion kita issue kalau benda tu adalah not so material and not pervasive. Basically tak adalah not so material, basically material but not pervasive, okay. Or you juga boleh issue disclaimer kalau material and pervasive, okay. This one adalah kalau due to the scope limitation. Disclaimer adalah scope limitation. Okay. When principal auditor conclude that the word of the other auditor cannot be used and the principal auditor has not been able to perform, the principal auditor not be able to perform sufficient additional audit procedures regarding the financial information of the component, the principal auditors akan express except for opinion kalau benda tu material but not pervasive to the group, okay. Okay. Tetapi kalau you rasa benda tu material and pervasive to the group as a whole, dan kita akan issue disclaimer sebab this one is due to the scope limitation. Okay. So kalau due to the disagreement, you boleh issue except for opinion ataupun you boleh issue adverse opinion kalau benda tu adalah material and pervasive. Okay. The principal auditor should consider the significant towards the whole group. If material effect to the group, kalau benda tu immaterial effect kepada group, so katakanlah bahawa benda tu material kepada subsidiary kan, tetapi kepada group as a whole, it is not material, okay? Jadi kita masih lagi boleh issue unqualified opinion with emphasis of matters lah. Kita akan highlightkan dalam our audit report yang one of the company ataupun one of the subsidiary company, the other auditor issue modified opinion, okay? If not so material, effect to the group and not pervasive, okay, kalau material but not pervasive, so the principal auditor may express qualified opinion, except for opinion. If significant to the group and pervasive to the group, the principal auditor akan express disclaimer opinion. Disclaimer kalau due to the scope limitation, or dia boleh issue adverse opinion if it is due to disagreement. Okay, so itu saja. Faham ke kelas?
Faham, Madam.
Okay, ada anything nak tanya? Okay, one thing tak ada ya. One thing, cuba buat soalan, cuba tengok soalan last 2 semester. Last 2 semester soalan dia banyak tanya soalan pasal listing, okay? I think it was a good question lah. Basically soalan-soalan last 2 semester tu memang soalan yang dapat banyak apa ni? Bila external examiner tengok pun dia kata dia is very good quality of questions lah basically ya. So maybe you can have a look, okay. Tapi ingat ya, macam sebagai principal auditor macam I mention tadi, okay, mula-mula sekali you kena review the working paper. Okay, kalau you tak puas hati, you not satisfied dengan dia punya working paper, you has the right to ask the other auditor to conduct additional audit procedures. Okay, ingat yang tu ya. Mula-mula you kena minta dia dulu conduct. Bukan kita tak panggil kita the terms yang kita panggil adalah additional audit procedures. Okay, so kadang-kadang bila dia conduct additional audit procedures, you still not satisfied with it. Okay, so you sebagai principal auditor, you sendiri boleh conduct the audit procedures. Okay, you sendiri boleh buat lah, walaupun dia bukanlah client you, tetapi you sebagai principal auditors, you have the right to do so. Okay. Soalan yang biasa ditanya adalah the type of audit report to be issued. Okay, sama ada you nak issue unqualified with emphasis of matters. Okay, unqualified with emphasis of matters tu macam katakanlah bahawa dia ada auditor issue modified opinion, so you kena highlight benda tu dalam audit report. That one emphasis of matters lah, or KAM, key audit matters, okay. Ataupun sama ada you nak issue except for opinion, adverse opinion, or disclaimer opinion. Yang tu yang you kena be careful, okay. Sebab you kena tengok to the group as a whole, sama ada benda tu material but not pervasive, and material and pervasive. Okay. So the type of audit report sama ada nak keluarkan disclaimer opinion ataupun adverse opinion. Jangan buat salah. Sebab markah dia senang untuk you dapat markah dan senang untuk you hilang markah. Okay, do not make any mistake. Okay. So bila you baca soalan tu, you kena make it clear dulu sama ada situation dia is due to the scope limitation ataupun disagreement. Senang saja you nak tahu, kalau anything yang berkaitan dengan tak follow accounting standard, that one adalah disagreement. Okay, kalau anything yang melibatkan your difficulty to get evidence, that one adalah scope limitation. Dia tak akan ada in between. Dia mesti very clear scope limitation ataupun disagreement. Faham kelas? Is it clear?
Yes, madam. Clear.
Kadang-kadang bila mengajar online ni kadang-kadang macam tak sure sudah faham ke tak, ataupun kadang-kadang takut ada mistake. Okay, just to ensure that you betul-betul faham apa dia sebenarnya nak buat ya. Okay, ingat ya, the type of opinion depending kepada group as a whole lah, the implication kepada group as a whole. Okay, so kalau tak ada apa-apa, so I jumpa you all next seminar, next class. So I akan masuk dulu tajuk audit in IT environment, dan kita akan discuss a few questions on risk and materiality, group audit as well as audit in IT environment. Okay.